Alright, so in this video I'm going to be showing you guys how I made $6,000 in profit in the last 30 days launching a brand new product on Amazon with 20% net margins. This is running PPC ads. This is like our net margin was 20%, which if you don't know is almost impossible to achieve with a new product launch on Amazon. I'm going to be showing you guys exactly how I did it. So in the last 15 years of selling on Amazon, this is how myself when I first got started and also everybody else does private label. Private label is basically you're buying an already manufactured product, usually overseas in China, and you're slapping your own label or logo on it. Now, this is really bad, right? Like basically you're finding a product that maybe 10 to 20 other sellers are already selling on Amazon, and you go to China, you go to Alibaba, and you look for manufacturers, then you basically reach out to them, get your price, you import it into the United States, you put your own logo and your own label on it and your own branding, and then you sell it on Amazon, and you hope that you're profitable and you hope that you sell it. But 9 times out of 10 that product's going to fail, and I'm going to tell you exactly why. Now, the main way people are looking for these products to sell on Amazon is they find a niche, right? And there's millions of ways to find like niches of products, and they look at the top 10 sellers and they say, does the top 10 sellers all have less than like 50 to 100 reviews? And if that's a check mark and there's, and they can make it profitable and it's over a certain price point, then they start selling that product. Now, this is a really bad way to source products and do private label, because when you end up doing this, there's literally thousands of other private label sellers looking for the same niches with the same sellers that have less than 50 to 100 reviews. And what ends up happening is when a niche emerges or a product is found, usually when you launch that product, there's like 20 other private label sellers that found that exact same product and are already in the process of getting that manufactured and bringing it over to the United States. Or there's sellers that are going to actively start doing that because they found that niche. And so what ends up happening is you launch that product and there's like 20 new sellers within a couple months. And then you all are just competing for pricing. And that's just really bad. When you can only compete on pricing, no one's profitable. You end up just having to lower your price. Your ads cost a ton of money. Your cost per click goes up crazy, and you're not profitable. And so this is the old way of doing private label. And so that's why I came up with this new branded private label method. And there's some other people in the Amazon space currently doing this. But what is branded private label, right? Branded private label, you're selling a product that's already manufactured in the United States. So you're not dealing with those 60-day lead times, right? You don't have to put it on a ship and ship it from China to California, and then you probably don't live in California, so you have to ship it from California to wherever you're located. And I can promise you it takes 60 to 90 days from the time you start manufacturing a product to getting it. If you manufacture in the United States, from the time you start manufacturing it to the time you receive it, if you do it correctly, you can receive it in under 30 to 45 days. And then when you do restock orders, it's even faster. You could sell higher AOV products because you are sourcing from the United States. So people want better quality products, and if they know that it's coming from the United States and it's USA made, they're going to spend more money on it. You're selling products on cross-platforms. So what does this mean? This means Instagram, right? You're running ads to Instagram, you're doing your own website, and then you're also doing TikTok, which is a great platform. We're going to have tons of other videos on how to actually launch on TikTok. But you're not just selling on Amazon. You're using all of your available resources to sell this product, and I'm going to show you guys how that's going to directly influence your Amazon sales. And then you're branding through a story, culture, UGC, and design, right? Instead of just branding through your graphics and designs, you're also doing UGC ads. You're reaching out to creators and you're having them create genuine product reviews and demos and whatever other videos that you want to make. You're creating a real culture behind your brand. And this is, creating a community, creating a reliable customer base that's always going to purchase your product and come back month after month after month to buy the same product that they love. And you're creating a story, right? You're creating a story behind the founder. You and yourself, and you can even do like a fake founder. I've seen so many brands that come up with fake founders that fit that niche of product, and they do so incredibly well because people can resonate with that story and they trust that brand. So let's get into how branded private label works and why it's so lucrative, right? So when you launch a product, let's say you find a product, and I'm going to show you guys in a couple minutes like what a good product looks like, and people who are already doing this. So what is branded private label, right? So first, when you find a product, you're going to launch it on Amazon, right? Because this is what we specialize in. This is our platform, right? This is our skill set platform. This is what we're really good at. So you're going to launch the product on Amazon, right? And you're going to start to get some sales. And there's a complete method and checklist on how to actually launch a product on Amazon. I'm going to walk you guys through that in, again, another video. But let's just say you launch your product on Amazon and it starts to sell, right? You're not super profitable. Maybe you're break even. Your CPCs are super high, right? Your ROAS isn't where you want it to be, but you're making some money, or at least you're break even, right? And so how do we increase our revenue and increase our profit on Amazon? By utilizing other platforms. Well, it's really, really easy. So maybe you start selling on TikTok Shop, right? And not all products can be sold on TikTok Shop, but most products can be sold on TikTok Shop. So maybe you start selling on TikTok Shop, right? You invest some money into some creators, you send, you do sample seeding, you send your product out, you create a listing on TikTok Shop, and you start selling your product. And again, you're not really seeing a huge return. Maybe you're break even, maybe you've lost some money, right? But you're gaining traction and you're gaining views on your product, and people are seeing your product in an organic form, right? They're not just being fed advertising to your product, and that ultimately is going to come with lower cost per click. So you start selling on TikTok Shop, right? Then you start taking your videos from TikTok Shop and UGC creators, right? And if your product can't be sold on TikTok Shop, maybe because it just doesn't fit that category of products that are doing really well, maybe you hire some UGC creators. And I'm just going to throw this up here because this is actually what we do. We don't sell on TikTok Shop, but we do pay UGC creators to make videos and post them on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and all these other platforms. And then you start to take those videos and you start to run them to your website, right? And I'm going to split this with Meta because this is how most people run advertising to their websites. They use Meta. And you start running, your UGC creators videos and your TikTok Shop videos to your website through Meta, and you start again making money, but you're not super profitable, right? But once you kind of start doing all three platforms, or even you only do two platforms, this is where the magic happens. Because I can almost guarantee that 70% of users on TikTok Shop that see your product are not going to buy it on TikTok Shop, right? They're going to come to Amazon and they're going to come to your website and they're going to buy them there, right? So we can add a $ to both these platforms that we're selling a product on, because again, people are seeing your product in an organic form and they're coming to Amazon and they're coming to your website to purchase your product, and there's spillover traffic from this platform. But what about your website and Meta too, right? People are seeing your ads through Meta and they're seeing your product on your website, but maybe they have an Amazon Prime subscription because over 300 million people in the world have Amazon Prime memberships, and most of them are coming from the United States. They're going to Amazon to buy your product, maybe because they want it faster, maybe because they just trust Amazon way better, right? And so we can add a $ and I can promise you that there is so much spillover traffic between these two platforms that indirectly goes to Amazon. It's insane, right? And so what ends up happening is your cost per clicks are going down and your product ranking, right, like your organic rank on Amazon is going up, right? Because Amazon is seeing this and they see your product is driving traffic from other platforms onto their platforms to buy their product, and Amazon loves this. Amazon loves when you drive external traffic to their platform because you're indirectly making them more money. You're not just taking existing traffic on Amazon and selling to them. You're literally driving external traffic to their platform and making them more money and acquiring them more memberships through Prime and more customers. And so again, you have this flywheel effect, and some Amazon customers are going to see your product and they're going to go to TikTok Shop and they see your product come up on their feed, on their For You page, and they're going to buy them because they've seen your product so much. It's the same thing with running ads, right? People are going to see your ads on Meta, then they're going to see your product on TikTok Shop, and they're going to get that impulse purchase. And again, Amazon, right? You can retarget these people that see your product on Amazon, on Meta, and they're going to start watching your product. So you have this like call it the fly wheel. Sorry, I misspelled that there. You have this flywheel effect, okay? And so this is the new way to sell on Amazon in 2025. And it's really not that difficult. You might look at this and say, all of these platforms are super complicated and I don't want to launch on 3 different platforms at the same time. You don't have to. You can start with these 2, right? You can only start with these 2 platforms and you're still going to make a ton of money. And then when you get enough videos, you can start literally taking your UGC creator videos that people are making because you sample seeded and you paid them to make videos on TikTok and start running them as ads and start driving traffic to your website. And these videos, right, the videos that perform really, really well on TikTok and they get millions of views and hundreds of thousands of views, those are good videos that Meta is going to see. They're going to have good hooks, they're going to have good bodies, and they're going to have good call to actions. And Meta is going to see that. And again, they're going to be like, wow, this brand is pushing really, really good videos to the advertising platform. They're going to optimize your ads for you, right, through their algorithm. And they're going to start pushing so much traffic to your ads, which is, again, going to drive so much traffic to your website, drive sellers to Amazon and sellers to TikTok. It's this huge flywheel effect. And this is the new way to sell on Amazon. So instead of just taking a product and slapping a logo on it and putting it on Amazon, you're utilizing 3 different platforms to drive lower cost on all 3 different platforms. And you're basically tripling your sales overnight. If you're already selling on Amazon and that's your only platform, you need to get on these 2 platforms right away. Right? And so let's take a look at some really, really good listings and some really poor listings, right? This is a category I would launch a product in tomorrow if someone wasn't already doing branded private label, right? It's a chicken dewormer, and we can come here, and these are just like sponsored listings, so I'm only looking at organic listings, and we could see that Roosties is doing really well, right, with their branding. They have a really cool design, they have a story behind their brand, they have a culture, they have a community, and this brand isn't really doing well, right? We could see that, yes, it may say top #1 rated, but this product's also been around longer, and they have the same price point, but we could see that they're selling 3,000 bot in the last month, and they're only selling 1K bot in the last month. And it's because these guys are running external traffic on Meta and TikTok, and they're creating this flywheel effect, while these guys are just selling on Amazon, right? And their branding is okay, right? It's a typical private label product, and they have a video, and they've done somewhat of a good job selling on Amazon, and I got to give them props for that. But this brand, I mean, the branding is so much better, right? It's made in the United States. They have tons of videos. They have UGC creators making them videos. They're running external traffic, and ultimately, they're selling way more units per month. And we could see this direct correlation on this product. It's only a year old, right? People don't see the success launching a product on Amazon and having it take over a year to get to this level. It doesn't happen this fast, but it can happen this fast if you're running outside traffic. And we can also see that Roosties is running 200 ads, right? I don't know their cost per clicks. I don't know their CPMs. I don't know their ROAS. I don't know their conversion rate, but I can almost guarantee they're making so much money by doing all of these things, right? They're making UGC creator ads. Like, people see this and they see this is super organic, they can relate to these videos, and that's what, does so well. And so some other ways that you can also increase your profit and kind of take this branded private label to the next level is you can start running email and SMS, which is basically like sending out like emails and text messages telling people about sales and new products. You can start selling on TikTok Shop, right? Maybe you're only making UGC creator videos. You can start selling on TikTok Shop. And then you can also start running Google search ads. And Google search ads right now is so lucrative because no one's doing it, right? Roosties isn't doing it because when you search Roosties on Google, you don't see any shopping ads and you see this like chicken restaurant. But when you search Primal Queen, which is a huge like beef organ DTC brand, right? Their first sponsored thing that you see is their listing. You see their products. You see an about page, right? You see their website. You see Amazon. So when you start to combine all these different things, you start to get really, really profitable and you start to literally print money. So this is kind of like an overview of branded private label. If you guys want a super in-depth guide on how to actually launch a product and do it yourself, click the link in my description and book a call with us and we can help you out. But in the meantime, what I'm going to ask you guys to do is drop a comment down below if you guys are already selling on Amazon and if you are looking to implement this branded private label method. I will probably be taking one viewer's comment and going through your entire brand and giving you basically a full audit on your brand. And then I will make a video on it. So if you guys are interested in actually learning how to do this, check out some of my other videos. I'm going to be posting almost daily on the YouTube channel. So I will see you guys in the next video.